Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. We're at a City Council meeting, and it is Monday, November 15th, 2021. We'll start this meeting with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Nordstrom.
Here.
Weifenbach. Here. Roberts. Stroman.
Here.
Armstrong.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Solomon. Here. Evans.
Here.
Drew.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. As you can tell, we have two members of the council calling in tonight, so that will mean we'll go along with the City Council meeting normally and take voice votes, but if there is a vote where not everyone agrees, if it's not unanimous, then we will be required then to have a roll call vote and go through all the members. So in case you're wondering why we do that, that's why. It's part of the rules that we're following. So now next is the invocation, Pastor Scott Wiley, and then following the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we pray? We come before you today to give you honor and praise, God of all creation, and you are worthy of praise. And you're the source of all that's good, and you're the source of all our blessings. We thank you for the blessing and the privilege that we have to live in this fine community. We thank you for the opportunity to come together here today for this meeting. We pray that your hand will be upon it. We pray that there will be a spirit of wisdom and productivity, respect for one another, for peace, and for unity. We thank you for helping us in this time, and we give you praise in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. And now is time to adopt the agenda. This is a point in the meeting where the council members may adopt the agenda as written or may make certain alterations to it. Would there be a motion? Motion to approve by Evans and a second by Solomon. All in favor of approving this agenda, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. And now we have a proclamation, and I'll invite a couple of speakers to come up. I'm going to read an executive proclamation and then turn the microphone over to a couple other speakers tonight. This week is National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. The executive proclamation states, whereas during the I just want to say we are having some audio difficulties. All of the new stuff is on order, like everything else. We're waiting for it. I think we expected it long before now. We're hoping to get it sometime in the future, but you may hear the squeals or the echoes. We're doing the best we can with an old, cobbled up system, and we've been trying desperately to replace it. So now I'll get started on the proclamation. Whereas during the January 22nd, 2019 South Dakota point-in-time count, 995 individuals were reported as being without a home. Of those reported, 147 indicated they were survivors of domestic abuse. 93 having mental illness, 85 having a substance abuse disorder, and 66 were veterans. During the 2020-2021 school year, there were 591 students without homes in the Rapid City area schools. And whereas we can work toward reducing the effects of the crisis of poverty through educating the public about the many reasons people are struggling with food security and living without homes, such as the shortage of affordable housing in Pennington County and limited access to recovery for substance use and mental health concerns. And whereas we must all work together to educate the community, raise awareness, reduce the stereotypes that exist around food insecurity, poverty, and homelessness, and promote an environment where children and adults alike feel understood and respected during their times of struggle. And whereas there are many organizations committed to providing supportive services and who work diligently to increase public awareness about, advocate on behalf of, and provide positive and safe options to those living without homes and those living in need in our area, including the Hope Center, Volunteers of America, the Black Hills Regional Homeless Coalition, the Youth Task Force, Cornerstone Rescue Mission, Working Against Violence, Inc., Feeding South Dakota, and a multitude of others. Now, therefore, I, Steve Allender, Mayor of Rapid City, do hereby proclaim November 14th through the 20th, 2021, as National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week in Rapid City. I encourage all of our citizens to participate in some type of activity that will help broaden our understanding of what's going on in our community. One of the things that we do to help raise awareness is we allow winter clothing to be placed on the downtown presidential statues. And that's not without controversy, by the way. But we allow the clothing there not to be the main distribution point for winter clothing for the homeless, but more so to bring awareness that there are people on cold days that do not have adequate clothing, let alone housing or food and other necessities. So now I will turn the microphone over.
Thank you. My name is Lorian Peterson. I'm the president of the board of directors for the Hope Center here in Rapid City. The Hope Center has been the only day center in Rapid City for those struggling with homelessness and poverty since 2010. Our mission is putting God's love into action by enhancing dignity and hope as we build bridges out of poverty. It's our goal to bring awareness to this important issue and to seek positive solutions. We encourage advocacy, education, and other initiatives which set out to encourage and support those who are living in poverty. On an average day, we assist over 250 guests with things like mail, basic hygiene, clothing, and food. Our guest advocate assists people in obtaining their identification and other vital records, and also things like housing and employment. We're a relationship-based program, and we spend a lot of time getting to know our guests and helping them maneuver through this difficult life. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, more than 38 million Americans face hunger, including 12 million children. We see hundreds of guests each week at the Hope Center who are struggling with homelessness and food insecurity in our community. We must bring attention to the need for more resources to provide affordable housing, emergency shelter, and medical care for our most vulnerable citizens. All human beings are worthy of being treated with dignity, kindness, and love. In remembrance of our family and friends who have passed away this past year, we will be coming together tomorrow evening for a candlelight vigil, tomorrow, November 16th at 7 p.m. at the Hope Center. We invite you to join us for this time of remembrance. Thank you for your continued support and for helping to bring attention to these important matters in our community. Next up, I'd like to introduce Marcos Glass, a police officer with the Rapid City Police Department and also one of our board members.
Just going to read off a couple things. First of all, the police department is committed to assisting other partners around the community in helping with this problem. I'm part of a little bit of that little help, but I'd like to read a couple of things as far as stats go. In the year 2020, the Hope Center has given out 25,000 meals 17,000 snacks, 3,665 boxes of food that were given out to guests. We made approximately 3,495 referrals to other agencies or organizations around the community. And we've assisted over 211 individuals with getting their IDs and helping them get in homes. The biggest thing that we want to bring to light is that we've assisted over 60 guests in receiving housing. Another 68 we were able to help get employment. But most of all, the number of hours given by volunteers. This year, or excuse me, for 2020, we've had 78 individuals provide or donate time of over 10,656 hours at the Hope Center. Another 1,500 hours were donated by another 40 people. So it shows that there are many people out there that are willing to help with time, and we appreciate that.
All right, thank you guys. Have a picture there. Next on the agenda will be a presentation on the South Dakota Municipal League Conference by Richie Nordstrom.
Just waiting for the slides to get queued up. There we go. First of all, let me acknowledge some folks that helped me put this together. I asked Pauline Sumption to proofread this for me, and then a couple of other folks from the Municipal League as well that helped me out on putting this presentation together. I'm also here tonight virtually, as you can tell, I am here from the National League of Cities Summit that is going on in Salt Lake City right now. So I get to be in two places at once. Again, this year last year we did the conference by virtual, and I gave a report on that as well. And then this year we actually got to meet in person in Spearfish. There was 70 exhibitors, and the best opportunity to meet those exhibitors is you carry around a little sign or a card that you get the vendors to sign for you, and then you're eligible for a door prize. And I didn't win it this year. Somebody else got that recognition. I just want to say that the conference major topics that included were cybersecurity and marijuana legalization. And now they want us to, this is the Department of Health, would like us to consider using the word cannabis instead of marijuana, and you'll be seeing that later on in my presentation. And then I also had a very good presentation about what the requirements are for redistricting within the state of South Dakota for the legislative districts. And we had about 300 participants that registered for the conference this year, and it was well attended. This gives you kind of a sample of all of the activities that are taking place on just one day within the conference, and all the meetings that are taking place in different locations. And being the type of person I am, I tried to get to as many of these information meetings as I can attend. So some of the meetings that are available to anyone that attends these summits or conferences is that list on the left-hand column there. I was able to attend the city management one, and I also want to acknowledge Vicki Fisher and some of her staff that was there in the room to help out a lot of the other cities that were interested in the cannabis rulings at that time, and then some subsequent to that, some additional changes to that Department of Health rulings came out, and I had 5 more updates since then. And I know along with Vicki Fisher and our city attorney, we'll be getting some additional updates on what is taking place with the cannabis rulings. On the right side there, you can see the awesome lunches that they put on, and it was obviously it was different every day. But during those luncheons, we also were given a presentation by different groups that were in attendance to share their wisdom with everybody, with all the registrants. This will give you a list of all the people that were giving presentations. The person that I was interested in was the FBI person in the left-hand column. You could say he had a little bit of a dry humor there, and it was interesting to listen to his conversation about cybersecurity and all the things that potentially could take place with the hacking of our cyber systems. So we got to keep our IT people on their toes with conversations like this. I was not able to attend the finance officers meeting, but the next one was Sarah Hansel from our planning department was on the housing and redevelopment committee or panel that spoke on the different things. And you've heard a little bit about the past, what Sarah Hansel presented. She's our now project planning division manager. She just recently got promoted. And it had to do with the draft of the housing plan that the planning department is putting together. Another interesting conversation that we had was the public nuisances, and the small cities were really interested in how they can do code enforcement. So I just wanted to acknowledge our own code enforcement staff and the people support the code enforcement. The redistricting seminar was put on by Sarah Frankenstein, and she is also a wonderful singer. She didn't sing for us at this presentation, but I've heard her sing, and she does an outstanding job. Plus, it was very, very informative about the rules that are allowed or cannot do or should not do under the legislative redistricting program. On the right side column, we had some of our own city employees. Tracy Davis, who presided over the HR Association meeting, and Dale Fifley. We got to hear a little bit about his pre-wet and pre-treat operations, and I want to also acknowledge Dale Tech, who is our Public Works Director, that gave a presentation and a clarification, or really getting it down to the nuts and bolts of what pre-wet and pre-treat operations does for our city streets. Sarah Hansel, again, she was very instrumental in answering all the questions or concerns that were addressing with not only our city but across the state in the housing crisis that not only Rapid City is facing, but the state of South Dakota is facing. I didn't get to hear Justin Williams, our city attorney, one of our newer attorneys, that was on the panel for cannabis. And so we'll be having, I'm sure we'll be seeing some more information in the near future on what will be coming up on our cannabis rulings. I just also want to point out that our mayor has taken over the president's job of the municipal league for the years 21 through 22. And Deborah Hausman is the person that's on the right from Lake Andes. She did a remarkable job of serving as our municipal league president for 2 years. And I just want to applaud her for taking the reins and along with the help of the municipal league, doing an outstanding job for the municipal league. And now with Mayor Allender coming on board, I know we'll have a different sense of humor that's coming up to the municipal league, and some of the quotes that are on this slide give you an idea what we're expecting for over this next year for the leadership of the municipal league. And we're going to get an amplification from the municipal league on the city voice. This is the last one that I want to acknowledge, Pauline Sumption, who is the past president of the municipal league for 20 and 21. So she took over the municipal league, and now we get to keep it in, shall we say, in the family for this year as well, with Mayor Allender taking the reins, and then with our finance director being the mentor for Mayor Allender as well. And then lastly is Tracy Davis, who is the past president of the South Dakota Governmental Human Resources Association. And so both of these folks got a certificate as an appreciation for the job well done in representing the city of Rapid City. Thank you. That concludes my presentation. And if you've got any questions, I'll do my best to come up with some kind of an answer for you.
All right, thanks, Richie.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. All right, next on the agenda is general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. We have one speaker request form for general public comment, and that is Chuck Henry. And the speakers, well, go ahead, Chuck. You know, three minutes.
I just want to comment about public housing in the high rises. I live one of them, and what happens, people do get in there, but they violate your lease. And I guess that's how they become homeless. But I'm one of the on the tenant advisory council, so we'll be looking at that. Man, Thursday night was great in the new arena. I happened to be there for King and Country. The acoustic was so great. There's some improvements they need to do, but that's good. You can expect that for the first biggest event in it. But it was so great. There's still people coming in around the concert time, and it was so great. And I give my hat off to the monument staff. They did a great job. Next Monday, me and the mayor are going to have an hour talk about homelessness. I'm going to bring some of my ideas I have up. I used to be critical about the homeless, but I'm going to change that. So we're going to put our heads together and figure out how we can help this out. I will be in contact with the fire department, the people I need to be there, and the police department. See if we can coordinate something. One of my ideas is to ride with that special police department crew that just takes care of the homelessness. And I'll have some first aid stuff with me, so we can relieve some of the pressure on the fire department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that'll end the general public comment. And now on to non-public hearing items, items 3 through 43, and we'll open public comment on items 3 through 37 at this time. We have a speaker on 3 items, and that is Chuck Henry. Items 21, 25, and 31.
I think I might like speaking or something. Okay. I was reading on 21 about the size, the big size of the dwellings and that, and hoping one regress, one opening. That does not help the fire department out. When they've got to come with an engine crew, or even the truck crew. Those vehicles are hard to maneuver, especially the truck crews. And one access point is not great for a big complex like this. Oh, I read that we have another emergency vehicle that was totaled. Again, I'll bring this up like I did 2 weeks ago about the ambulance that need to be remounted. People do not obey the law that says when there's an emergency vehicle coming towards you with lights and siren going, get over to the edge and stop. People ignore that. That's how these happen. And I was looking at the proposals for the new fees for next year, and I didn't see anything about fire lane parking. North Walmart is really great at that, people parking up there. They think they can leave somebody in the vehicle while they go inside and park there. We need to enforce these yellow and especially the fire lanes because people think they can get away with parking there. And so people need to be fined for it, even if there's somebody left in it. They're still breaking the law. Thank you.
Thank you. In the public comment period on these items. And now we're on to consent items 3 through 37. We'll go to Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May I pull item 21 and 33, please?
Council like to pull any more items? Darla Drew.
Item 37, and if I'm not incorrect here, was 30 pulled from this agenda? I don't see it on the digital copy. No, I do see it, sorry. I'd like to pull 32, sorry.
Did you say 37 and 32? 37 and 30, gotcha. Council like to pull any more items off the consent calendar? If not, could I have a motion then to approve the consent calendar with the exception of 21, 33, 37, and 30? So moved. Motion by Bill Evans, second by Pat Jones for approval. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 21, approve request from KTM Design Solutions for an exception to allow more than 40 dwelling units along East Anamosa Street with only one point of access. Per section 2.6 of the Infrastructure Design Criteria Manual, a single access can only serve 40 units unless an exception is approved by the City Council. Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did tune into the Public Works Committee meeting, heard the discussion on this, but I think it's just good, just for the sake of everybody's clarity, that we have everybody hear it at the same time. I think Mr. Henry brings up a good point. We certainly don't want one single point of access for these facilities. So may I direct a question to Dale Tech, please?
Yes, you may.
Dale, I see in the project plan that there's future development that will have secondary access. So what would be and I'm fine with that, what would happen if that doesn't come through?
Well, I think there's very low risk that it will not. The additional phasing won't happen with all the growth that we've seen in the Rapid City over the last 2 decades. We're going to continue to grow. If it doesn't happen, there's always options and opportunities to provide a second access. somehow. So I'm not concerned. Certainly, the fire department's reviewed this request as well and support the waiving of the 40-unit rule.
I know you and the fire department are pretty strong about that single point of access. So the fact that we've thought that through, that just in case for some strange reason it didn't happen, we could still get that second point of access if needed. Okay. With that, I yield. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then we'll go on to item 30. Sorry. Pat Jones made a motion for approval. And who was the second? Ron Weifenbach was approval. Usually I don't start getting this way till the end of the meeting, so we might be in trouble tonight. We have a motion and a second for approval of item 30. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now on to item 30. Approve the West River RSVP Plus program, request permission to apply for and accept, if awarded, the 2021 Corporation for National Community Services grant estimated at $135,801. Darla Drew.
Thank you, Mayor. I see that on the digital copy, I don't have any highlight there, so there's nothing attached to it. So Ann Hines was here on Wednesday, and I was very impressed by her presentation and what they're doing with this money. Because she's not here, I might direct a couple of questions to Richie Nordstrom, who's our liaison, if I could, please.
Yes, you may.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so, you know, this money goes to a lot of different programs. Could you just name a few of them for me, Richie?
Oh, gosh. I'll also ask Pauline Sumption to help me out here, too. But one of the organizations that we have volunteers go to is Salvation Army. We also have them over at the Treasurer's Office. And forgive me, I can't remember some of the other ones that we have on our agency list. But
Meals on Wheels, is that one?
Yeah, I'm sorry?
Meals on Wheels, is that one of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Pauline.
Got anything else, Pauline?
Sure. There also was a time where we had somebody at the public safety building. I'm not sure if they're still there or not. We've had them going to the school districts, into the elementary schools and tutor kids there. They also work at senior citizen centers or volunteer there, as well as the nursing homes when they're able to get in there. And that's just locally. This program, if you remember, on Wednesday, I told you guys that we combined the Black Hills RSVP Plus with the Northern Hills RSVP Plus, so that we are now the West River RSVP Plus. One program, one grant, serving all of western South Dakota, and she has authority for 2 half-time people, one here and one in Spearfish, but between them and Dave Uhas in my office, they take care of all West River.
Pauline, maybe you could answer this. Did Ann say they had about 500 volunteers during the year? Is that it?
Currently, they do have a little over 500 volunteers. That's lower than normal, but because of COVID, they lost some of their volunteers and some of their volunteer opportunities. They're still trying to get additional volunteers. In fact, a commercial is airing starting this week for a 2-week time period, trying to get some more volunteers for the program.
Well, I often am questioned about, you know, how we help these other services in our community. And this is the last year of their grant, $135,801. I think we've gotten more than the bang for our buck on this particular organization. And, you know, when we're thinking about the organizations just mentioned by Richie and Pauline, I get direct questions. Well, do you help Meals on Wheels? Do you help the VOA? Do you help different things? And this is how we do it usually. We do it through an organization that has money, and then they go ahead and grant to other folks. So it's not always through us. It's through organizations that are organized to actually do that kind of work, because frankly, we aren't. So it goes to the group that actually is boots on the ground with a lot of these organizations. And I really appreciate their work. I just wanted to bring that up and make it clear that there are organizations that are sometimes overlooked in getting praise, and I just wanted to bring them up and point that out. So that's it for that one. Thank you.
Okay, item 30, can I have a motion, please? Motion to approve Solomon and a second by Nordstrom. All in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 33, approve resolution number 2021-096, a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of water revenue refunding bonds, defining the terms and manner of payment of the bonds and the security therefore. And we'll go to Jason Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I will make a motion to approve. If I can get a second, retain the floor.
Second.
Second by Pat Jones. Go ahead.
Just a quick shout out. I did this at committee meeting, but Pauline Sumption has done a great job looking out for us. And when she does things like this, she essentially saves the city $2.25 million in bond savings and basically refinancing this. And I just want to give a kudos to Pauline for always being on top of these things, and good job, well done. It's always good sometimes to call out the good, and I think she's done a good job here, so thank you.
All right, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you, Pauline. We have a motion and a second for approval of 33. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 37, reject all bids for street light maintenance contract open November 9th, 2021, and rebid at a later date. Darla Drew.
Thank you, Mayor. Could I direct a question to Dale Tech, please?
Yes, please.
Hi, Dale. I was reading through this, and I saw we had budgeted about $60,000. The bid came back at around $120,000, it looked like to me. So do you think that we are just expecting this to be really a lot cheaper than it will be? I think we have to designate more money for this if we had one bid, and it was $120,000.
Well, that's part of the issue that we have, is we only received one bid, and it's from somebody that we haven't done business with, so that concerns us. We're going to make sure the word gets out, talk to people that can provide this service, and try to get a more attractive number. Our estimate does align with what we've seen for increase in costs. We keep an eye on that all the time. So it is not in the best interest tonight to certainly award this bid, and that's our recommendation.
I totally agree. It's just that, we see across the board everything's going up, and I think that we might be having a bit of a sticker shock when it comes to things that we have coming up that we're just not going to get the prices that we did before. So, when you bring this to us again, hopefully we'll have a little bit more allocated for this bid. So that's my only point on that. Thank you. I yield.
Pat Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Follow-up for Dale Tech, please.
Yes.
So, Dale, do you believe that the lone bidder fully grasped the project and what was expected, or is that part of the concern?
I don't know that. Certainly when we receive sealed bids, we don't know their thought process behind the bid they submit. The number's the number typically. So I don't know the reason why they submitted what they submitted. It is high.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item 37, may I have a motion, please? Motion by Jones to approve, second by Nordstrom. All in favor of approval of item 37, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. That'll bring us to the end of consent. Now to non-consent items, 38 through 43. We do not have speakers for these items, so we won't have a public comment period. That'll take us to item 38, the boarding school land mayor's committee presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Valeria Big Eagle here. We do have members of our team going ahead and handing out these. We have some handouts here. If you can can we hand them to the IT guy, and can they hand them out?
Hand them to someone over here and they'll
All
help
right,
you.
great. And if you could take one and pass them down. And then we did send the one-page letter that we composed to those city council members that are not here today. So we just wanted to make sure you know that you have that in your email. So like I said, my name is Valeria Big Eagle. We have Tatewi Means and Chante Hart here. We are members of the Mayor's Working Committee, and we were directed to help and resolve these 3 outstanding deeds in regards to City Council Resolution number 2020-84. You know, one of the things that we want to keep in mind here is that we are guided on our work by our unchis and our elders of our community. And this work is to mend our community and to heal our native and non-native people here in this community. So I just wanted to say that much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tatewi Means, resident of Rapid City, a part of the Mayor's Committee. As you may recall, last fall, in November actually, so 1 year ago today, we had a series of presentations before this body regarding these 3 outstanding parcels that were once a part of the Rapid City Indian Boarding School lands here in Rapid City. The result of those conversations and deliberations last fall was the creation of this working committee to work with the mayor and his office and the city planning office to identify a resolution, right? And that was a part of the directive that or the suggestion, I will say, that the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Department of Interior, had made to find a solution in a letter dated in 2017. So just a quick recap of how we ended up to this point today and why we are here. So here we are to present 2 options to the committee for your consideration on how to resolve these land parcels. In the handout on the back side, there's history on the first side and a list of the mayor's committee members. And then on the back side, we also provided those here in attendance, and I believe those that aren't here were emailed the business plans for the community center, for the proposed community center, and the Community Development Corporation. So as a reminder, and several presentations we've given to this body, and we also completed 2 community engagement sessions with the broader Rapid City community earlier this spring. One was at the Journey Museum and the other was at General Beadle to provide an update as to where we are with plans for the community center and the Community Development Corporation. You know, those went fairly well. Because of COVID, I think some were still a bit hesitant to attend, but we did get a variety of community members to come to provide feedback. I know Mr. Pat Jones came to one, and I think Mr. Strawman was at one too, at the Journey. But just sharing our process for developing the business plan for the community center, community surveys, the input from community, how we came to arrive at the design that we have for the overall structure, and how that will relate to this Community Development Corporation. And the Community Development Corporation, the whole impetus for creating that is to create a sustainable and consistent revenue structure for a revenue stream for the community center, so that it's self-sustaining and economically feasible, you know, for the future. And so that Community Development Corporation, right now, the plan is for apartment buildings over a 10-year period to build 4 apartment structures, 4 apartment buildings, to provide housing to the Rapid City area. These won't be targeted low-income housing or anything like that, but more middle-income apartment units, again, to provide that consistent revenue stream for the sustainment of the community center. And so the proposal for the City Council this evening, there's 2 options. One is to provide the full $18 million that we're asking for the creation of the community center. That would cover all the cost, the pre-development, the surveys, the actual construction of the community center, and the first apartment building for the Community Development Corporation. So $18 million in cash plus 2 city land parcels for the remainder of that $20 million appraised value, or valued figure that was presented to the council. The 2 land parcels that we are putting forth are LaCroix Links and College Park. One, College Park would be a very viable possibility for the community center because of its location on the north side of Rapid. Some of the feedback we received from our community, and especially the indigenous community, is that they wanted something in North Rapid. They wanted something accessible, close to public transportation, and something that's a part of their community already, or their throughways. And so that is a very excellent possibility for your consideration. The city funds, the 18 million, of course. There are vision funds that are out there that we understand. Obviously, that process is underway right now. And within this governing body's purview to allocate those funds as you see appropriate. And so that's one possibility, or other city allocated funds, right? We're not here to prescribe how you go about designating that money, but this is one option for the council to consider. The other council is city budget cash, obviously, again, and then other land parcels. So if the amount available in city allocated funds is less than the 18 million, then we would propose that lesser amount with these other city parcels for consideration, again, to total that 20 million. So these parcels are all available right now. And the Journey Museum, as you will note there, is included. The land around Journey and the surrounding parcels, but initially with a lease for the Journey to remain in operation, obviously. We wouldn't want to shut it down or tear it down, do anything like that, but we would want it to continue and provide a lease to them to continue operations. And so those are the two options that we have put together. Again, we worked with the Community Development Office on these various parcels, the viability of how they would be for community center or apartment complexes. And so a lot of conversations have happened over the last year. Again, the 2 community engagement sessions. And so those are the 2 options that we are putting forth this evening. Are there any questions?
Well, thank you for the presentation, for the information. It's going to take a few minutes to read through this, but I appreciate it. I don't know if the council has any questions or not. If they do, I would just recommend that the council not at this point deliberate on the merits of this project because of the vision process that's underway. I like to keep that as pure as possible when it comes to you, which will be December 13th, I believe. So Darla Drew has a question.
Thank you. Ms. Means, I see there's a little question here. Does your organization have cash or funding in place to upfront all or a portion of this project as a reimbursement program? And you say it's being submitted to the vision funding, which of course we're aware of. Is there any other funding that you're looking at this time?
We're always looking for funding. As you know, this project, the creation and start of a Indian Center here in Rapid City has been on the wish list of our community for many, many decades. And so it's not something we are actively applying for right now, any kind of grants opportunities, but that's always a possibility.
And we have to remember these are a resolution to resolve these 3 outstanding deeds, right?
Okay, well, just the question was there, and so I just wondered if there was anything else going on in that direction, like state funds or anything like that, that could help us out with making this a reality, so.
Yeah, nothing specific at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, looks like all the questions for tonight. Thank you very much for coming and for the handouts.
Thank you. Can I make one last statement?
Of course.
After the decision, after the vision fund allocation, we will ask to be put on the city council agenda immediately after that to see what resolution that you come up with as a city council. And we're hoping to come to a resolution then.
And typically the process would be, there's a special city council meeting on December 13th, I believe, if that's a Monday. And that's where the Vision Fund Committee will make their recommendations to the City Council. Typically then that would empower the City Council to make decisions there at that meeting, postpone it till the next meeting, but there's going to be a period of deliberation while they take the committee's recommendations under advisement, and they'll be talking about all of the projects, I assume, and it may be beneficial to have you in the room to answer questions and so on at that time.
Definitely. We can be here on the 13th.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda, start under ordinances. Item 39, first reading ordinance 6513, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by KTM Design Solutions for Dennis Zanstra Real Estate Holdings for a rezoning request from no-use district to low-density residential district 2 for property generally described as being located south of the intersection of Hallmeyer Drive and Camus Drive. We have a motion to approve by Jason Solomon, second by, was that Greg Stroman? Okay, and we'll go to Pat Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I would just like some clarity in the terminology here. An area that is deemed no use to be changed to low-density residential, I'm curious as to what has to be done, why it's no use right now, and that process. So I would assume that would be a Dale Tech question, if I may. Oh, Vicki? May I go to Vicki?
Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor.
Upon annexation, a property is deemed no-use district. This property was recently annexed in. We have 120 days to then work with the applicant, determine what is the appropriate zoning, and then assist them with bringing that application forward for your consideration. This rezoning does meet the city's future land use plan.
So what mean, when it's called no use, does that just mean it's not in use right now, or it has no designation, or it's a hazard area and shouldn't be used for anything?
It's a term we use for a holding zone, meaning that they cannot get a permit until they rezone it to a zoning designation that does identify appropriate land uses, area regulations. All property that is annexed in is automatically zoned no-use district until we look at the future land use plan with the developer and determine what the appropriate zoning should be.
Thank you very much. I'll yield.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for approval of 39. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under community development items, item 40, approve final fiscal year 21 mid-year Cdbg funding recommendations. This item was continued from the November 1st City Council meeting. Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, first of all, make a motion to approve this item. Get a second, retain the floor.
Second by Bill Evans. Go ahead.
I think thank you, Mayor. I think some good questions were asked at the last meeting to find out some specific information about this property that's being looked at, or the construction of this property. And I just wanted to acknowledge the work of everyone that was involved in putting this together. The emphasis that I would like to put on it tonight is the gratitude for Common Bond coming into Rapid City to help out in this project. And from what I can determine is that this is one of an outstanding application processes that I've ever seen come forward on that process. So if I can ask a couple of questions, it looks like Michelle Schulke is here tonight. If I may get a clarification on something here.
Certainly.
As Michelle is coming forward here, I would like to extend my gratitude for you and your group that's putting this together and the evaluation that was committed to coming up with this Cdbg funding recommendation. Can you provide some additional information that was asked of you last time around about the, I believe it's in the links that demonstrate the affordable housing units that are going to be applied for?
Of course, thank you for the question. Mayor?
Please.
As you mentioned, Councilman, there is an attachment with a spreadsheet, and certainly happy to go over that with you. These are proposed contract rental rates. They are indexed based on the household income of the household who moves in there. So it will change depending on that income level. But as you can see, there are some one-bed, one-bathroom homes that are indexed for the 30% AMI, so that's area median income household, proposed rental rates as low as $311. They are a mix, as discussed, between market rate and affordable. The affordable, again, are indexed to the household income. So you'll see at the bottom of that chart, there are some 100% AMI. Those are going to be market rate. Again, those are proposed rate, but they are going to be set by the common bond rather than determined by the household that moves in there and the income that they are earning.
And I had Mayor, I had an opportunity to meet a couple of the folks from Common Bond, and very professional, very upfront about all the information that they provided for us. And I just want to say that the application was about that thick, and at least an inch thick, if not more. And the way it's explained to me is that these folks have a lot of experience in other states, and they came to Rapid City to find out what's available in Rapid City. And it wasn't overnight either, and the process that they went through for the vetting of who they are and what they do and everything like that is, I want to applaud the Cdbg group to do all the investigations that needed to be done. So if there's anything else, Ms. Oki, if I'm missing something.
I think that's a great synopsis. One clarification is that Rapid City asked Common Bond to come to the community. I don't remember her title, but Deidre Smith came in, spoke with no indication of actually breaking into this market. It was our community that asked if they could look into this, and they determined that there is a community need, and eventually, of course, they want to come and expand into the market of Rapid City.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay, Darla Drew.
Thank you, Mayor. Michelle, I've noticed that some of the council are not really familiar with Common Bond. Could you tell us a little bit about that organization, since they're going to be working with them?
Of course. I'll do my best to
Okay.
give you a synopsis. They are primarily located in the Midwest. They not only do new construction, but they do rehab projects as well. They're very service focused, so they look at the services that the residents may need. Some communities are focused on veteran housing, some on folks that need more assistance with disability type services. They really tailor that to the people who are living there. So those services are yet to be determined. But as you can see, they are focused on affordability. And they do that through a variety of funding sources that they layer to ensure that the affordability is not only insured today, but for many, many years. So for example, by receiving this Cdbg money, they are going to be committed to affordability for 30 years. Another point I'd like to make is they don't want to come to a community unless they feel like the community feels like it's going to be an asset for them.
Certainly, I do think it's going to be an asset. So you're asking that you put $347,000 towards this project, is that correct?
That's correct.
And do we happen to know what the entire project will cost? Is that going to be funded by Common Bond then entirely?
Partially by Common Bond and developer costs. Additionally, they're receiving housing tax credits and home money through the state as well. So a variety of different funding sources. They are also receiving a lot of local philanthropic donations and support that way. So a lot of different partners to ensure the affordability. But yes, the Common Bond is providing some funds into this project. Total project cost, I don't have that number in front of me, but it's close to $9 million, I want to say.
Wow.
And that does include acquisition costs.
And so their oversight and funding group, is that correct?
They will provide their own management on site.
And they will answer to you on behalf of the city, or how will that work?
You know, we are one funding mechanism, so our division will ensure that they're meeting the affordability criteria long-term. Certainly, there's some construction criteria that they're going to have to meet while they're developing this project, but I mean, I would say they're going to be responding to the community more so than just our division or our department.
And remind me again of the location.
Oh, it is on the corner of La Crosse and Omaha. It is that bare lot on the northwest corner.
I think it's an excellent location, and it meets a lot of criteria. We don't have to put in roads and all those things for it. You know, everything is kind of there, and the water and sewer, all those things. So yeah, I'm very much in favor of this. And when I hear the entirety of the costs, I'm pretty impressed on that. So when it comes time to rent it out and make it affordable, then does that revert to you guys, or?
It does. We have a long-term commitment for 30 years to ensure that they're meeting the affordability criteria of the Cdbg program. The state has the same responsibility to do that. I'm not sure how many years it will be required, at least 20. And so this is something that we'll be checking on long-term.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Ron Weifenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had stepped out for a moment, so I might have missed some of it, so pardon me if I'm redundant. Or the affordability criteria, is there something available, like on, is it attached somewhere that tells us what that criteria is? Can you tell us what, like, say in today's market, what the rents would be?
Of course.
For, say, a two-bedroom?
Of course. The attachment that looks much like this has proposed rental rates. You'll see the area median income and you'll see percentages. So the rental rates will be indexed to the household income of the households that move into those apartment units. So it'll be constantly changing. Of course, this inflation market changes, this will always be changing. But for example, if a household moves into one of their one-bedroom, one-bathroom homes, and they are at 30% area median income, that household is estimated to be paying between about $311 to $362 a month for rent.
And that'll be a non-subsidized payment? That'll be, I mean, they won't,
The method
will they
in
be
which
collecting Section 8 on top of that to get to that number?
potentially, so this would be the proposed contracted rate. The method in which those residents pay, cash, check, Section 8, whatever it may be, that may be another factor. This is just a straight formula of what they expect to be receiving.
And so the percentage of those units that'll be available for the 30% median income?
Yes, there are 3 units that'll be available for the 30%.
3?
3, yes.
Out of how many?
3 out of 42.
3 out of 42. A little less than 10%. So they're going to build 42 units for $9 million?
42 units for about $9 million. Again, there's acquisition costs in there. There are services, wraparound services. And again, there are going to be a mix of 30 affordable rental units that are indexed and 12 that will be market rate. So you'll have a group of apartments that are indexed for the 30%, 40%, 50%, 50% or lesser of fair market rate, and 60%. There will be 12 units that will be market rate, so they aren't going to be indexed to the households residing in there.
I'm missing something, because I think when I'm talking about units, I'm talking about individual apartments.
Yeah.
There's got to be more than 42, right?
There's 42. That's
For
the
$9 million?
proposal. That's correct.
Am I missing something?
I have no idea how much it pays.
Mayor, if I might.
Let's hear from Vicki Fisher real quick.
So it's not only the cost of the apartment building, but there's land acquisition that goes towards this project as a whole. So yeah, just to think that you're only going to get 42 units, this is property that has a lot of site preparation that's needed in order to develop on. So it's not just the structural development that's going to complete the 42 units, but it's a project, you're looking at raw land from the ground up. And I believe that is all determined in the equation as to how they were determined to be identified for the CDBG fund, is the overall cost of the project. and the amenities that are required for those apartments.
I guess, Vicki, that equates to $214,000 per unit without any land acquisition? That's why I can't believe if I'm missing something, or?
That math doesn't, so the dollar amount in its entirety is?
I don't have that number in front of me, roughly 9 million.
That's without the land, right?
Yeah,
That is with land.
That's with the land.
Acquisition costs are included.
Okay.
But keep in mind.
Pardon? Yeah, I get it. I just, yeah. When does the $347,000 get interjected into the project? At what point?
These will be primarily for infrastructure, engineering, and pre-construction costs.
So do they have those costs, like their management fees lined out and everything too? I'm assuming that's part of it too, right? That they're gonna have a management fee to build this thing?
There is oversight, project oversight, that's built into their pro forma, but the CDBG funds will not be covering salaries or any management costs. It will be strictly, again, the pre-construction, infrastructure, engineering type expenses.
I'm having a tough time getting my arms around this. Maybe I'll get with you later, so I don't want to take up the rest of their time, but thank you.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of item 40. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? One no. So let's go to a roll call then.
Jones. Solomon. Evans. Drew.
Aye.
Nordstrom.
Aye.
Wyffenbach. Stroman. Armstrong.
Aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-2.
Okay, thank you. Item 41, approve resolution 2021-092, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Dennis Zanstra Real Estate Holdings LLC for a petition for annexation for property generally described as being located south of the intersection of Paulmeyer Drive and Camus Drive. And the recommendation is to approve in conjunction with the associated rezone 21RZ024, and I believe that's what we just approved, correct? Yes, so there. Okay, motion approved by Nordstrom and a second by Solomon. All in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 42, approve a request by Richard W. Sturkle for preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots 1 through 8 and storage lot of Black Elk Peak subdivision, generally described as being located at the intersection of Greenfield Drive and Green Valley Drive, and the recommendation is to approve with stipulations. Okay, motion by Darla Drew, second by Nordstrom to approve with stipulations. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 43, approve a request by KTM Design Solutions for Yasmin Dream 2 LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed Track 2 and dedicated public right-of-way of Diamond Ridge subdivision, generally described as being located south of East Anamosa Street and west of Diamond Ridge Boulevard. And again, the recommendation is to approve with stipulations.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion by Jones, second by Stroman. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing items 44 through 48. There are no speaker requests on these items, so we will not have a public hearing or public speaking on them. That takes us to consent, public hearing items 44 and 45. Would the council like to approve these on consent or take them separately? Okay, we have a motion by Drew to approve on consent and a second by Evans. In favor of approval of item 44 and 45, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Non-consent public hearing items. 46, a request to approve Resolution 2021-052 by KTM Design Solutions for 605 Storage LLC. This item is being requested to continue to the December 6th City Council meeting. This has been continued a couple of times, and the request is to continue it again. Motion to continue by Darla Drew, second by Evans. All in favor of continuing this item, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 47, second reading, Ordinance 6510, an ordinance amending Section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by KTM Design Solutions for Yasmin Dream 3 LLC for a rezoning request from General Agricultural District to Low Density Residential 2 for property generally described as being located southeast of the intersection of East Philadelphia Street and East Anamosa Street. Motion to approve, Solomon. Second by Jones. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 48, second reading. Ordinance 6511, an ordinance amending Section 17.06 of Chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by Indigo Design LLC for Dakota Heartland, Inc. for a rezoning request from General Commercial District to Office Commercial District for property generally described as being located north of the intersection of Timmons Boulevard and Bernice Street. Motion to approve, Nordstrom. Second, Weifenbach. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 49, we have the bill list, and we'll go to Finance Director Pauline Sumption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are no additions to the bill list, so the total is that which is attached at $13,843,110.20.
Motion to approve, Solomon. Second by Drew. All in favor of approving the bill list, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion for adjournment? Evans, second by Jones. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned, everyone. Thank you.